Well, one day last year, I think it was a Tuesday, or was it a Thursday? What a fun walk that was. Dogs had fun, I had fun, hope you did. Just back from the beach where we collected some seaweed, because we're going to make some seaweed wine. If you want to see our adventures from the beach, follow the link up above or below. Anyway, we have one full bag of seaweed, straight from the beach, straight from the shoreline at low water. First up, you want to wash it several times in cold running water. What you really want to be doing is washing off all of the little bugs and insects from your seaweed. There are so many different types of creatures who live in this habitat, so you don't want to be making wine from these little bugs. However, you can't guarantee you get all of them, so I'm going to say that this wine is not suitable for vegetarians. You may think it's strange having seaweed in beers and wines, but it's more common than you think. One of the main fining agents used in breweries, apart from bladders of fish, is seaweed. So chances are, next time you have a beer, it contains seaweed anyway. So it's not that strange. As you wash your seaweed, you'll be breaking it into small chunks and sections. You just flip it apart and shove it into your big bowl. A bit time consuming, so I get on and do this now, and join me in a minute now. Whilst I'm breaking up the seaweed, and having a munch as well, I just thought I'd tell you that chances are you've probably eaten seaweed more times than you think. It's commonly used in ice creams, and it goes under the number E407 in Europe. I don't quite know what the number is in America, but in Europe it's E407. Also, maybe not eaten it, this stuff also makes personal lubrication. Once you've cleaned and cut up your seaweed, test it again. It's always worth a test. I've weighed my seaweed and I have 3 pounds worth. That's about 1.5 kilos. I think that's going to be plenty for 1 gallon of wine. Next up, grab your fermenting bucket, like so, and just throw your seaweed into your fermenting bucket. Like so. The carbohydrates in seaweed aren't going to be broken down quickly by fermenting. Therefore, the alcohol is going to come from your sugars. You're going to need quite a bit of sugar in this wine to make it up to 12–13% or so. But what the seaweed does offer is a brilliant flavour. It's going to go really well with fish, lobster and oysters. It's to have a slightly peppery and asparagus-y flavour. It'll be very subtle, but it will definitely carry the seaweedy flavour forwards, as well as all the nutrients from the seaweed, I must add. When it comes to adding the sugar, I'm going to try an initial dosage of about 1.5 kilos. I'm then going to see what the hydrometer says and maybe increase it up to 2 kilos. So first of all, I'm going to weigh out my 1.5 kilos. Now I'm going to add the sugar to your fermenting bucket with your seaweed in. Grand. That's going to be followed by a mug of hot, well-stewed tea. Any type, as long as it's not fruity tea or green tea, but proper tea. Throw that in, tea bag as well. Once you've added your sugar and your tea to your seaweed in your fermenting buckets, you want to pour over 2 litres of boiling water. And give it a good stir so the sugar dissolves. The smell coming out of it is amazing. Just imagine fish and chips on the beach with candy floss coming through as well. That's the smell at the moment. It's that saltiness and the beach infused with candy floss and rock. You know that sweet long tubes of rock? You hear, puts your teeth on edge, doesn't it? Keep on adding your boiling water until you bring it up to your 1 gallon mark of water. The seaweed isn't going to give off a lot of moisture or juice, so therefore you want to add 1 gallon of water. Don't worry about any juice seeping out, it'll just add an extra bit of flavour. Once you've added your water, you want to let it stand, let it cool down to room temperature, because today I'm going to take a hydrometer reading of its starting point. That way I can work out how strong it's going to be, and if I need to add more sugar for a sweeter wine or a drier wine, I can really play around. It's going to be an experiment. Why not do it scientifically? Fantastic. So I propose a cup of tea. It's going to be hydrometer dibbit dibbit dibbit. Yay, perfect, or need to add more sugar. And pour the yeast in. Hello again. We're back from a tea break. Our seaweed wine has cooled down to 15 degrees, so we're going to take the hydrometer reading. Awesome. I love hydrometers. They're really handy at showing you how strong your wine might end up being. Anyway, that's really good. That's about 1.090, which translates to a final wine alcohol, if I let it ferment right the way out to become a nice dry wine, it will be about 12.5%, which is ideal to go with a light starter, especially a fish starter. Fish pate, salmon, oysters, lobsters, all these things you can find around the coast. Awesome. So now, the next step is to add your yeast. I'm using a quite standard blend of yeast. There's nothing special about it, it's your bog standard El Cheapo wine yeast from Youngers. The thing I like about it, in a nice big tub, which will do me for a few weeks, it will. If you want to buy a nice big tub of yeast like this, I've included the link to it down in the description below. A tub of yeast this size, if you keep it in the fridge, will last you about a year or so. So it's better value, which is awesome. Right, you've got 1 teaspoon per gallon of wine, and just sprinkle this over your seaweed and sugar and tea bag blend. Then, give your wine a good stir. Finally, for today, I'm going to cover the wine with a lid, stir it every day for 3 days.
Simple.
Yeah, simple. And then leave it for a few days, strain it, and put it into a demijohn.